This is the second of my stories for October. All my stories this month are all about the wee folk, the hidden folk, the people who are spirits within the forests and the mountains. And some of those people are trolls. Now we think of trolls as being great, big, scary things, but these trolls aren't. These trolls are about this tall, very furry, and they have big knobbly noses, and sometimes they have beards, and they always have a long tail. And these are the trolls that live in Scandinavia. The trolls that I'm going to tell you a story about today, they lived in a country called Sweden. This story is called When Mother Troll Took in the King's Washing. A long time ago, when the land was still covered with forest, there lived trolls. Many, many trolls. They lived off the land. They were able to eat wolves and foxes and bears. They had more than enough to keep them fed, and they would live in the caves up in the mountains. They were happy. They weren't bothered by humans because there weren't so many humans around. But over time, well, more and more humans appeared, and they started to cut down the woodland to make little wooden houses for themselves. And soon those houses became villages, and the villages became towns, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger until there was less and less land for the trolls. Because there was less land for the trolls to live on, there weren't the forests that they could go hunting in anymore because they'd been cut down for the houses. And now the humans, they hunted the foxes and the wolves and the bears for meat. And there were lots and lots of traps in the forest. It was a dangerous place for trolls to be. There was a troll family, a mother troll, a father troll, and a son. And as the humans had made bigger and bigger towns, they'd had to move further and further up the mountains to stay away from them so that they didn't bother them and the humans didn't get frightened of them. In fact, Mother Troll, when she went looking for food in the forest to see if she could find something that they could eat, once she'd got her tail stuck in a trap. It had hurt a lot, but she'd been okay. Unfortunately now, her tail had a bit of a kink in it. So Mother Troll, Father Troll and their son lived high up in the mountain. And often Mother Troll would grumble that they had to live so high up and didn't have very much food and had to just make do with berries where they could. She would go down into the town at night and she'd peer through the windows. And don't worry, she wasn't going to hurt anyone. She just wanted to see what they were doing because she could smell the bacon and the coffee. They were good smells. And she knew they'd been cooking something nice. She used to look in at the windows to see what they were doing, and she'd see them making these delicious meals. And she wished she could live like the humans and have coffee and bacon too. She also watched them as they did their washing. She watched them scrub the washing clean in the rivers, and it was never really quite bright white the way that she did her washing. You see, trolls use a magic moss to get their washing clean and bright and white. Yes, trolls have magic too. Mother Troll always thought it was such a shame that they couldn't get their washing as clean as she knew they were able to. But she also knew that if she went and saw them and gave them her magic moss, they would be so terrified at her knobbly bobbly nose and all of her hair and her long tail with the kink in it. And so Mother Troll never tried to talk to the humans. That wouldn't be a good idea. One day the humans decided, well, they didn't have enough room in the towns and they needed more money to build more houses, better houses out of brick and concrete. And so they decided that to do that, they needed to mine the copper and the iron ore that they found in the mountains. To do that, they dug into the mountain and started to blow it up with dynamite. But do you remember that's where the trolls lived? Gosh, it gave them a headache every time they set off that dynamite. There was less and less room for them to live in the mountain. And Father Troll, he got so cross. He was so angry. He was furious and he was frustrated that there was nothing that he could do to stop the humans, and he got so red in the face and steam started coming out of his ears that what happens to trolls when trolls get so angry is they just go pop. And that's what happened to Father Troll. He just went pop. Well, that was a very sad day for Mother Troll and their son, wasn't it? It was. What were they going to do? Well, now there was a chance for them to move, because really it had been Father Troll that had not wanted to move out of the mountain. Mother Troll felt that they should go down and perhaps try to live a bit closer to the humans, and they might be able to get some scraps for food. But the son, he didn't want to go anywhere near the humans. But Mother Troll won the argument when she said that she'd seen a little wooden hut by the lake, down by the edge of what was left of the forest. And it had been abandoned for years because its owner had gone off to live in a better house, a bigger house, a brick house, one of those ones that are made out of concrete. And she said if they lived in the little hut, then they could be very happy. They'd be able to find food and scraps and they'd live well. In fact, she said she'd come up with a plan. She'd had many, many years to think about this while they'd been living in the mountain, because trolls are older than time itself. Nobody really knows how old trolls are. Well, Mother Troll, she had a lot of time to think about this. What Mother Troll had seen was the people doing their washing. And Mother Troll knew that they couldn't get their washing as clean as she could get it clean. And so she decided that she would go and offer to do their washing. But she couldn't very well turn up looking like a troll, could she? Because that would frighten them. Well, every time she'd gone down in the village, she'd taken a little bit of human clothing and she'd sewn them all together. And she had got lots and lots of skirts, and then she could hide her tail underneath them. And she'd got an apron, which made her look like a washerwoman. And she'd found a lovely bonnet that she could put over her head that would hide her troll face. So the humans would never know she was a troll, would they? No. So it was that Mother Troll and the son, they moved down to the lake and they lived in the little wooden shack. And Mother Troll did exactly what she said she was going to do. She dressed in the human clothes and off she went to knock on doors and asked if there was any washing that they would like doing. And, well, she got lucky. She got lucky that there was one human whose washerwoman had not turned up to take the washing, and she desperately needed it doing for the master. And so she handed it to the washerwoman and she said, you mind that this all comes back clean and in good order? Of course, said Mother Troll, I'll make sure it all gets done. And Mother Troll took it off to the nearest river and she cleaned it with the magic troll moss, and whoa, it was bright white. She took it back to the house and the woman there, oh, she was amazed. She'd never seen the laundry so clean. Soon she started to tell all of her friends about this amazing washerwoman who got the washing so bright that it was brighter than the sun. Soon Mother Troll had more people asking her to do her washing, and she became the best washerwoman in the town. News soon got to the king and Mother Troll was summoned to the palace. She was asked to do the princess's washing. It was a very new princess, so this was a baby princess. She had lots of tiny little gowns to wash, all crisp white gowns. And we know how mucky babies can be sometimes. And, well, Mother Troll, she was definitely the person to get these clean. She took them away and thanked the king for the work. She took them away and she cleaned them with the magic moss, and oh, they were beautiful. She could see all the tiny delicate lace and the little tiny pearl beads, and as she held them up she showed her son. She said, her son was called Drool. Drool, look, look, look at these gowns, they are so beautiful. They are not fit for a troll child though, Mother, they would never fit. Ah, but they would a human child. They would look so good on my grandson or granddaughter. Mother, I will only have troll children. They will not fit. "Oh no," said his mother, "now we are living with the humans. We can find you a human bride," she says. Drewl's not sure about that. Anyway, Mother Troll likes the look of this little dress so much that she folds it up and she puts it away in a chest in their little wooden hut. And she says to Drool, she says, "Take the clothes. You can take them all the way back to the king, and don't forget to whisper a little troll magic poem in their ear as they're counting back the gowns so that they don't spot that I took one. Then they'll ask me to do more." Well, this is exactly what Drool does. He takes the horse and cart and he goes up with all the washing back to the king's palace, and he whispers the little poem, the little troll magic, to stop the servants from realising that there is any missing. This carries on. Week after week, Mother Troll is doing some of the washing and she's taking one of the little gowns, and soon she has quite a nice little set of little gowns in her wooden chest. One day when Drool takes all of the little tiny gowns back up to the palace, all that is except for one because Mother Troll's kept one again, he's in a hurry. He wants to get back home quickly because the snow's coming down and he doesn't want to get stuck out by the king's palace. And so he doesn't stop to whisper the little poem, he just leaves the gowns and he goes. The servants, they're counting out the gowns and they discover there is one missing, and they are so cross because they start to look and then they realise there are more gowns missing, and then they start to look around as to who to blame. And they see Inga, the little orphan kitchen maid, and they say, "It must be Inga. She must have taken these and sold them, and there's nothing Inga can do." Inga tries to tell them that it's not her fault and it wasn't her that took them, but no, they will hear nothing of it and they banish Inga from the palace. That doesn't seem fair, does it? Well, this makes Inga very sad, and she travels through the forest. She's crying. She does not know what to do. She stood by the lake and she looks at her reflection and she asks the spirits of the forest, "What am I to do? Where should I go?" And then out of the forest comes Drool. At first it frightens Inga, but then she recognises him as the boy that brings the washing to and from the palace. "Oh, it's you," says Inga. "Oh, why are you crying?" says Drool, and Inga tells them what has happened. Well, of course, Drool knows what really has happened, but he can't tell Inga that because that would mean that his mother would then get into trouble. And so instead, he says to Inga, "You cannot stay in the forest. It's too cold for you to stay out here. Come home with me and you may live with us for a while." Inga is very grateful of this offer, and she does that, and she goes back to the little wooden hut by the lake and she lives with the troll mother and the troll son. And because they never take off their human clothes that disguise their troll features, Inga, well, she never realises that they're trolls. She's happy to help about the house and go and get water and get wood for the fire and help Drool to load the cart which takes all of the washing back up to the palace. Every day more washing arrives and Inga helps the troll mother to do it. The troll mother shows her the magic moss which gets it clean and white. Inga is astounded. Now she knows the secret. Over time, the troll mother decides that this Inga ought to be Drool's wife. And Drool, well, he becomes fond of Inga too, but he is sure that she will not want to marry a troll. "Mother, we have nothing to offer her. We are trolls. She will not want to marry me." "Oh, let me fix that," she says. And so the next time that Drool goes up to the palace, Mother Troll shows Inga her stash of tiny, pretty little gowns. And she tells Inga of the gowns and how these will clothe her grandchildren, the children that Inga will have with Drool. And Inga is horrified because whilst the trolls have shown her so much generosity and comfort, there is no way that she wants to marry them. No, she does not want to marry Drool. She looks at the gowns and she realises that these are the princess's gowns from up at the palace. She cannot believe it. Mother Troll all this time has been stealing the gowns. Well, now she knows. What is she to do? But Inga need not worry because, whilst trolls may be kind and not really mean any harm, stealing is wrong, isn't it? But they're trolls. They're not really that clever. And so at some point, they're going to give themselves away. And this is what happened. When Drool reached the palace, he was distracted by the thoughts of what his mother had said and the fact that he might be able to marry Inga, and he did really quite like Inga, but he also knew that she was human and that she probably wouldn't want to marry trolls, and all of this stuff was going around in his head when he arrived at the palace to deliver the latest lot of freshly laundered gowns. The gowns arrived, and Drool's supposed to whisper the poem, isn't he? Well, Drool has all these things going round in his head that he forgets. He forgets to whisper the poem. And he stood there waiting for them to count all the gowns, and he's standing around thinking about all of these things in his head, and he suddenly sees them counting, and he realises that they're scratching their heads and they're frowning and they don't know what's happened to the other gown, and they start to look at Drool and they say, "You've taken the gown. Where is the princess's gown?" Now Drool starts to run. He gets in the cart and he rides fast through the forest until he gets back to Mother Troll. The palace and the guards, they're following because Drool has stolen from them, hasn't he? And they want justice. They want them to be punished, the trolls, they do. But when the palace guards reach the little wooden house, the only person they find there is Inga. The troll mother has gone, and so has Drool, and all the little petticoats are there, cleaned with the magic troll moss, all neatly ironed and piled up. Inga explains what has happened, and of course, well, the palace guards, they believe her because now they know that Drool and Mother Troll were trolls, not humans. And they know that they stole the petticoats. Inga is then invited back to the palace to live. All is forgiven, and Inga forgives them for accusing her as well. She has a good life, and the king, well, he gives her a little cottage to live in as a way of saying sorry. She finds a good man, and they marry, and they are happy together. But what of Mother Troll and her son? Well, you'll be pleased to know that they escaped up into the mountains. And Mother Troll learnt her lesson that while it was a pretty thing and they had plenty of them, it was still stealing. And she misses the smell of coffee and bacon, but, well, she and her son are agreed that it is not safe for them to live close to humans again. And so that is why you will never see a troll in a human town or village. They live up in the mountains, in the caves, and they keep themselves to themselves and mind their own business. Because humans, well, we're a bit unpredictable as far as trolls are concerned, and we don't really like to share. And so that is why trolls will never live near humans again. So that story is a story from Sweden, and it is called The Mother Troll Who Took in the King's Washing. I love the idea that the trolls clean the washing with magic moss. I wouldn't try that if I were you. You might just end up with green on your washing if you find the wrong moss, that is. It's quite difficult to find the right moss, and it's only really trolls that know where to find it. So yeah, I wouldn't try that if I were you. But I do have an activity sheet for you to try. So if you download that one, then you can find some activities which will bring the story to life. And perhaps you can act out the story yourselves as well. I'll see you next time for more stories. Toodle pip!